We got a good one. We have coach, speaker, author, Aaron Victor. Young man, been doing this thing for about 25 years. He's out of Detroit, but he lives in Nashville. That's right, Nashville, Rochelle, right there where you are. And he is amazing. And we want to say welcome to him today. We are so excited to let you get started and tell the people what you have to offer today.
Well, listen, Miss Crystal, what's happening? We are here and excited to be with you this afternoon on a Sunday. So thank you for the invite. I don't want this to ever go that people don't have to be kind and invite you onto their platforms in which you've worked so hard that people trust you. So the fact that you trust me, that you're saying, hey, come through and let's come hang out. I say, let's hang out today. So I'm pumped for this journey and this conversation and this energy.
Excellent, excellent. Well, listen, tell the people a little bit about who is Aaron Victor. Who is Aaron Victor, the coach, the speaker, this amazing man who is out here helping entrepreneurs that are aspiring to do great things. What this man, let me go back. Let me do it like this. Let's talk about who was Aaron, the little boy. I always like to tell people to talk about their childhood. Tell us who Aaron is, the man from Detroit.
They said I got a little echo going on Instagram. I'm just trying to make sure we're good before I go. All right. So who is Aaron Victor from Detroit? Oh, man. Listen, I'm the oldest of three. And I grew up. So anybody who's currently watching BMF and, that TV show that's on Stars right now, that's how, that was the environment that I grew up in. Grown up church kid. Me and my brother and sisters were my mom's first staff when it came to the children's ministry. And we were in church all the time. So we're kind of weird kids. We were in church, all day on Sunday, felt like, 12,000 different times during the week, so didn't necessarily fit in. And most people who have not met me in person, I'm a rather taller human being. So I've always been tall. So I'm 6'8". So again, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, growing up, as a church kid, when everybody's really trying to hustle, crack epidemic, Detroit had just experienced the white flight. Mom's a probation officer, dad's, doing this thing, trying to figure it out. And then you're in church on top of it. It was tough. It was tough. I got bullied quite a bit because everybody wanted to make their name on the big guy. But the one thing that was very clear that my parents did with me is, and all three of us, honestly, is instilled a really, really deep work ethic in us. And so when that kind of time period started transitioning, my parents ultimately got divorced when I was 15. And then that year was difficult because as they had gotten divorced, my mom as a probation officer had gotten shot by one of her clients. By God's grace, she survived it, and just celebrated her 70th birthday this year. But when you go from being a kid to now being thrust in the front, then now you have to lead both your brother and sister, help your mom through healing and navigate schoolwork, trying to figure out how to go to college, through sports. It was a very interesting time growing up in Detroit, at that time.
That's amazing. Now I got to go back to something you said, because that's not something we hear every day. 6'8".
Yes, ma'am.
That stuck out in my head. Basketball player by chance?
Yes. I played, I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship at Oregon State University first. And then the coaches that recruited me out there got fired. And then I ultimately transferred to a little school in Indiana called Valparaiso University. And so this time of the year, March Madness, is my favorite time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year because I get a chance to watch all the upsets. So, Thursday for, anybody who's into the tournament, you see all the upsets. I remember being that kid in that position, watching that happen. Had a chance to play in the NCAA tournament, all 4 years. I was at Valpo, 3 times eligible on the court, Sweet 16 in 98. So sports actually taught me a lot. So you take kind of the growing up in the church and you take the sports, those two kind of components really actually make up the foundation of who it is that I am.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yes, sports definitely will teach you discipline. Rebounder.
Yeah.
Coming. Snatching them off the boards.
Oh yeah. So hey, Ms. Crystal, I like you. I like the fact that you ask these really good athletic questions. So I remember it was a game. It was my junior year. We were playing Western Illinois. We were on the road. And so you talk about rebounding, blocking shot, and you're rebounding, you think blocking shots, it's kind of my role. So I remember this guy came down the lane and he shot this shot. And instead of me going to just block it out of bounds, I literally went up, snatched it out the air, So my teammates was like, wow. So they gave me a rebound when it was supposed to be a block. But yes, I did that too.
No shot at professional basketball by any chance?
So I was working on it. And what happened is, for me, my college career didn't go exactly how I desired it to go. But what ended up happening is I went to a couple of camps, and I went, got hurt in one camp, and then got a chance to kind of play semi-pro. And, the money they were paying at the time, I was like, I went to school to get my degree. So I was like, I'll do something different. So I got a chance to coach in high school for a little bit. And one of my kids ultimately, one of the kids I coached ended up playing in the NBA for like 7 years, Jordan Crawford. So very proud of that, being able to do that. And then also having a chance to run Willie Green's camp, who's currently the head coach for the New Orleans Pelicans. I ran his camp while he was in the NBA 13-year career. So I ran his camp pretty much, I think from year 3 on, I ran his camp. So being able to just kind of have a broader perspective of basketball, how to be able to influence, watching the impact that the game can have to transform people's lives, very similar to what happened with mine.
Wow, that's amazing. And I pinned it. You see, Kiki Brooks says she loved March Madness. I think we all love March Madness. Oh, who's your favorite team?
Oh, so growing up, I'm a Fab Five kid. So the Jalen Rose, Chris Rubber, Juwan Howard, Ray Jackson, Jimmy King, the big shorts, bald head, black shoes, talking trash. I'm historically a Fab Five kid. But I think after going to school and being a mid-major and being a mid-major that beat the bigger schools, I always kind of try to find a mid-major every year that I can kind of root for, that I think I actually do really well. But if I had to put my alliances towards a team, it probably is Baylor, and it's all for all the homer reasons. The reason is the head coach of Baylor, Scott Drew, used to be my assistant at Valpo, and then one of his top assistants was my point guard at Valpo, so I usually root for Baylor.
For sharing that side. I'm sure some people might not know about your basketball career out here, so that's a blessing. Thank you for sharing that. I know that as a child, you probably thought about basketball. I'm gonna ask you this last question because my daughter was tall, so I told her, you playing basketball because I wanted that scholarship. Was you pushed into the basketball career because of your height by your family?
So interestingly enough, I actually hated basketball. Because everybody wanted me to play. Y'all pray for me. I'm a little stubborn. So if you kind of push me in a direction, sometimes I'll go in the opposite direction just because. So growing up, I was a baseball player. Primarily played baseball up until I was 14 and just kept growing. And so, started getting a little bit better at basketball. And I remember my high school coach asked me a series of questions that were very logical. And he said, hey, this was going to my sophomore year of high school. He says, hey, what do you think? Who do you think gets the scholarships for baseball? I said, oh, the kids in the warmer weather states, out west, down south. I said, because coach, they get a chance to play year round. He said, okay. He said, so are your parents going to have the money to be able to pay for you to go to school? I said, no, I got to get a scholarship. He said, so which one do you think is going to be easier for you to go to college? Is it going to be baseball or basketball? I said, oh, basketball. He says, well, I need you to spend time during baseball season playing another sport to make you a better basketball player. So once we had that conversation, my last year playing organized baseball was my freshman year in high school. So
that the best players are made in off season. Well, thank you so much for sharing again about your basketball career. So now, later on in life, here you are as a coach, helping people like entrepreneurs that want to step out and follow their dreams to become, leaders out here in multiple industries. Let's talk about that. How did you go from being that coach to becoming the coach? From being coached to becoming an actual coach for entrepreneurs? How did that happen?
Oh, so it's interesting. Like growing up, the one thing, and you get this as a mom of a taller, kid, is that they love to treat the kids older than what they really are. And so that was kind of what happened with me. Everybody kind of always treated me like I was older. And so then when I get to college, my junior and senior year in college, I was the co-captain. So again, I'm the one talking to the media at times, making sure everything's where it needs to be. So kind of leadership and kind of coaching was there. I started learning a lot of that. Got an opportunity to then worked for the Detroit Pistons right out of college in their community relations department, and being able to kind of help take kids and connect them with the right resources in some at-risk areas. And so all of these things for me always started going towards kind of mentoring, started coaching. And then I answered the call in ministry. So then I became a youth pastor. So then like all of this stuff started happening. It's just like, all right, you were doing this in college. You're the oldest of three. You're coaching kids to go to the NBA. Now you're trying to coach and cultivate spiritually. Like, this is this moment for you. Like, why are we resisting kind of making this thing official? And so for me, probably, it was an opportunity corporately where I was sitting with one of our directors, and they said, hey, we need you to help kind of galvanize the sales force and middle management. There's a gap right now, and it's affecting our performance. And I'm like, y'all think I'm the one to do it? They say, you're the only one that we believe that can do it. At the time, I'm a sales rep. And so I literally spoke for 3 days, talked about the ABCs of different things of attitude, belief, and, finding your passion and different things like that for 3 days. And I absolutely loved it. And so people kept saying, it's like, Aaron, you do know people pay lots of money for what you just did. And so I was like, we'll see. And so, not really thinking about it like that. Then another opportunity came up where somebody says, hey, we need you. You're the only person that we believe that can do this. So then I was like, all right, let's make this official. Let's go file the LLC. Let's start kind of actively pursuing these things. And so I started getting opportunities, to work with UAW Ford, work with, churches, mid to large sizes, as well as other organizations, on really being able to help kind of cultivate their culture, on being able to identify personalities, connection with vision and work streams, and how we can be more effective. Because if we can connect with our most important resource in any organization, which is people, then we can maximize the impact that we want to have on our end user.